The gunshot echoed through the marble halls before Nia even knew what was happening. She threw herself over Unha, the 6-year-old's small body trembling beneath her as men in black suits flooded the foyer. Glass shattered somewhere to her left. Someone was screaming in Korean, harsh, guttural commands that made the hairs on her arms stand up. "Stay down," Nia whispered fiercely into the child's ear, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst through her chest. This wasn't what the agency had told her. High-profile family, they'd said. Needs an experienced nanny. Excellent pay. They'd failed to mention that high-profile meant the kind of man who made grown men weep with a single phone call. The chaos stopped as suddenly as it had started. Footsteps, slow, measured, deliberate, crossed the foyer. Nia looked up from where she crouched and saw him for the first time. Kang Ji-soo stood in the center of the carnage, wearing a black suit that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. Not a single hair out of place despite the violence that had just erupted around him. Blood speckled his white shirt. His face was a mask of cold indifference as he surveyed 3 men on their knees before him. He said something in Korean. One word. The men began to beg. Nia should have looked away. Every instinct screamed at her to shield Unha's eyes, to pretend she hadn't seen anything, to pack her bags and run as far from this marble prison as her legs could carry her. But she couldn't stop staring at him, at the way he commanded the room without raising his voice, at the terrible beauty of a man who held life and death in the palm of his hand and seemed utterly bored by it. His eyes swept the foyer and landed on her. For a moment, just a heartbeat, something flickered in those dark depths. Surprise, maybe, or curiosity. Then it was gone, replaced by that same icy detachment. "Take the child upstairs," he said in perfect English, his voice smooth as silk and twice as dangerous. "And stay there until I send for you." Nia wanted to tell him exactly where he could shove his orders. She wanted to grab Unha and run. Instead, she found herself nodding, scooping the trembling girl into her arms, and walking toward the grand staircase with as much dignity as she could muster. Behind her, she heard the unmistakable sound of fists hitting flesh. She didn't look back. That had been 3 hours ago. Now Nia sat in Unha's bedroom, a space that looked more like a museum than a child's room, all whites and silvers and not a single toy in sight, trying to coax the girl to eat something. Anything. Unha had pressed herself into the corner of her bed, knees drawn to her chest, eyes fixed on nothing. "Hey," Nia said softly, setting down the untouched sandwich. "You want to tell me your favorite color? Mine's yellow. Bright, happy yellow like sunshine. What's yours?" "Nothing." The child didn't even blink. Nia sighed and moved to sit on the floor, giving Unha space. "Okay, I'll tell you a story then. Once upon a time, there was a girl who lived in a place where the sun was so bright it hurt your eyes to look at it, where the music was so loud you could feel it in your bones, where people laughed, really laughed, the kind that comes from your belly and makes your cheeks hurt." She saw Unha's eyes shift just slightly toward her. And this girl, she decided one day that she was going to see the whole world. Every corner of it, even the scary parts, even the parts that made grown-ups tell her no. Because she figured, what's the point of being alive if you're too afraid to actually live? Was she brave? The small voice was barely a whisper, but it made Nia's heart soar. "The bravest," Nia said, smiling. Even when she was scared, she did it anyway. That's what real bravery is, you know. Being terrified and doing it anyway. The door opened without warning. No knock. Just the sudden presence of Kang Ji-soo filling the doorway, and God, the man was tall. Taller than she'd realized when she was trying not to watch him order executions in his foyer. He'd changed his shirt, pristine white now, no blood, but his eyes were the same. Cold. Assessing. Missing nothing. "Out," he said. Nia stood slowly. "She hasn't eaten. I didn't ask for a report. I set out now," he growled. Every muscle in Nia's body tensed. She'd dealt with difficult employers before. Rich men who thought their money bought them the right to be cruel. But this was different. This man wasn't just rich. He was dangerous, lethal, and he was looking at her like she was a problem he hadn't decided how to solve yet. "With respect, Mr. Kong," Nia said, keeping her voice even, "she's a child. She needs. I know what my daughter needs." He interrupted, his voice dropped several degrees. "And right now, she needs you to leave so I can speak with her privately." Nia glanced at Unha, who had gone rigid again, all that precious progress evaporating in seconds. The girl looked at her father the way someone might look at a cobra, wary, afraid, waiting for the strike. 5 minutes, Nia heard herself say. Give me 5 more minutes with her, and then I'll go. The temperature in the room plummeted. Jisoo took 1 step inside, and that single step felt like a threat. You're new here, so let me explain how this works. When I give an order, you follow it. No questions. No negotiations. No. She's 6 years old and she just watched people get hurt in her own home, Nia interrupted, and immediately regretted it when his eyes flashed. But she kept going anyway because apparently her survival instincts had taken a vacation. She's terrified. And you storming in here like this isn't helping. Like what? He asked. Each word was precisely enunciated, clipped deadly. Like the thing that scares her. She replied almost immediately. The silence that followed could have cut glass. Somewhere in the house, a clock was ticking. Nia counted 15 ticks before Jisoo moved. He crossed the room in 3 strides, and suddenly he was close enough that she could smell his cologne. Something expensive and dark that probably cost more than her rent. He was looking down at her with an expression she couldn't read, but every instinct told her she'd just crossed a line that no one crossed. You have no idea what you're talking about, he said quietly. Too quietly. You've been in my home for 3 hours. You don't know me. You don't know my daughter. And you certainly don't get to stand there and judge. You're right. Nia forced herself to meet his eyes, even though it felt like staring into an abyss. I don't know you, but I know that little girl is sitting in the corner trying to disappear, and that breaks my heart. So fire me if you want. Throw me out. But don't pretend this is about disrespect. It's about a child who needs to feel safe. For a moment, she thought he might actually put his hands on her. The muscle in his jaw ticked. His hands flexed at his sides. Then, impossibly, he stepped back. 5 minutes, he said. And then you come to my office. 3rd door on the left, down the hall. We're going to have a very serious conversation about boundaries. He left without another word, the door closing behind him with a soft click that somehow felt more ominous than if he'd slammed it. Nia let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding and turned back to Eunha, who was staring at her with something like wonder. You yelled at Papa, the girl whispered. I didn't yell. I just disagreed. Loudly. Nia smiled and sat back down. Now, about that sandwich. 20 minutes later, because Nia had absolutely taken more than 5 minutes and she regretted nothing. She stood outside Jisoo's office, trying to calm her racing heart. The door was solid wood, probably mahogany, probably worth more than her car. She could hear voices inside. Male voices speaking rapid Korean. Then silence. She knocked. Come in. The cold response came. The office was exactly what she'd expected. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. Minimalist furniture in blacks and grays. A desk that could double as a dining table. And Jisoo, sitting behind that desk with his jacket off and his sleeves rolled up to his forearms, looking like every dangerous fantasy Nia had never allowed herself to have. He didn't look up from whatever he was reading. Sit. Nia sat in one of the leather chairs across from him and waited. And waited. He kept reading, kept signing things, completely ignoring her existence for a solid 3 minutes. It was a power play. She recognized it. Make someone wait, make them uncomfortable, establish dominance. I'm going to fire you, he said finally, still not looking at her. Okay, she replied through gritted teeth. That made him look up. Okay, Nia shrugged. If that's your decision, I respect it. Though I should mention that your daughter ate half a sandwich, drank some water, and told me about her favorite stuffed animal, a rabbit named Snowball that apparently lives in her closet because she's afraid you'll throw it away. Something flickered across his face. I wouldn't, he stopped himself. That's not relevant. Isn't it? You asked me here to fire me for caring about her well-being. I think it's very relevant. She fired back. Jisoo leaned back in his chair, studying her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. You interrupted me. In my own home. In front of my daughter. No one does that. Maybe someone should. Nia countered. Excuse me? His expression mixed with surprise. Nia leaned forward. Mr. Kong, I don't know what you do. I don't want to know. But I know what I saw downstairs, and I know that little girl has been living in fear for God knows how long. So yes, I interrupted you. And I'd do it again. Because children shouldn't be afraid of their parents. You think I'm a bad father. It wasn't a question. I think you're a terrifying man who probably has very good reasons for being terrifying. But terror doesn't belong in a 6-year-old's bedroom. He stood abruptly, and Nia's heart leaped into her throat. But he just walked to the windows, hands in his pockets, staring out at the city below. From this angle, With the lights of Seoul painting shadows across his face, he looked younger. Tired. Almost human. Her mother left when she was 3, he said quietly. Took one look at what I'd become, and decided she wanted no part of it. Can't say I blame her. This life, he gestured vaguely. It's not for everyone. It's not for most people. And Unha, she's the only good thing I've ever done. The only pure thing in a very dark world. So forgive me if I'm trying to protect her from it. Nia's chest tightened with unexpected sympathy. By making her afraid of you? By making her strong. He turned to face her. The world I move in doesn't forgive weakness. If she's going to survive, she's 6, Nia said again, softer this time. She doesn't need to survive. She needs to be a child. She needs to laugh and play and make messes and know that when she falls, someone will catch her. Let her be 6, Mr. Kong. The world will make her strong soon enough. Don't rob her of the time she has left to just be. The silence stretched between them, heavy with things unsaid. Jisoo looked at her like he was trying to solve an equation that refused to add up. Finally, he returned to his desk and pulled out a contract. You'll stay, he said. But there are rules. No guests. No discussing what you see or hear in this house with anyone. Ever. You follow my schedule for Unha. You don't countermand my instructions. And you never, he looked up, eyes hard. Never challenge me in front of my men again. Are we clear? Crystal, Nia said. As long as we're clear that I work for your daughter, not for you. My job is her well-being. And if I think something is hurting her, I'm going to say so. Respectfully, but I'm going to say it. A muscle in his jaw ticked. You're either very brave or very stupid. Both, probably. Nia took the contract and scanned it. The salary made her eyes water. When do I start? You already have. He slid a pen across the desk. Sign it. And Miss, Nia. Just Nia, she said to him. Nia. He said her name like he was testing the weight of it. Welcome to the Kong household. Try not to get yourself killed. 3 weeks passed in a strange, suspended reality where Nia learned to navigate the marble halls of the Kong mansion like a ghost. She learned which guards were friendly enough to nod at her in passing. She learned that the chef made the most incredible kimchi jjigae if you asked nicely. She learned that the housekeeper, a woman named Mrs. Park, had been with the family for 20 years and knew where all the bodies were buried, literally and figuratively. Most importantly, she learned Unha. The girl was smart, funny, desperately lonely, and so hungry for affection it broke Nia's heart. They fell into an easy rhythm. Mornings were for lessons, Korean, English, mathematics that Unha excelled at despite her age. Afternoons were for play, which Nia had to fight for because apparently children in the Kong household weren't meant to make noise or mess or act like actual children. And Jisoo. Jisoo was everywhere and nowhere. She'd catch glimpses of him leaving in the morning, black car with tinted windows and an escort of men who looked like they ate nails for breakfast. He'd return late, sometimes bloody, usually silent. He'd check on Unha, awkward, stilted conversations where he clearly had no idea how to talk to his own daughter, and Unha responded with monosyllables because she didn't know how to talk to him either. It drove Nia crazy. You should spend more time with her, she told him one evening when she found him standing in the hallway outside Unha's room, just standing there like he was gathering courage to knock on his own daughter's door. He glanced at her. She's fine. She's not fine. She's lonely. She countered. She has you. He replied, his voice distant. I'm not her father, she said, her voice softer. No, he agreed, something dark crossing his face. You're better. Before Nia could respond to that, he walked away, shoulders tight, and she wanted to chase after him and shake him and ask him why he was so determined to push away the one person in the world who needed him most. But then Unha called for her, wanting help with her drawing, and Nia pushed thoughts of the frustrating, impossible man from her mind. The breakthrough came on a Wednesday. Nia was in the kitchen helping Unha make chocolate chip cookies, an activity that had required 3 days of negotiation with the chef and a promise that they'd clean up every speck of flour. Unha was laughing, actually laughing, face dusted with cocoa powder as she tried to steal chocolate chips from the bowl. Just one more, she pleaded, eyes sparkling. You said that 5 chips ago, Nia laughed, playfully swatting her hand away. At this rate, we won't have any left for the actual cookies. But they taste better before they're cooked, Unha said in her childlike manner. That's because, Nia turned and froze. Jisoo stood in the doorway, still in his suit, watching them with an expression she'd never seen before. Longing. Pure, naked longing. Unha saw him, and immediately went still. The joy drained from her face like someone had flipped a switch. "Papa," she said quietly, "you're making cookies." He said it like he was observing an alien ritual. "Nia's teaching me. We're almost done. We didn't make a mess, I promise." The words tumbled out in a rush, defensive, afraid. Jisoo looked around the kitchen, at the flour handprints on the counter, the chocolate smudges on Eunha's cheeks, the general cheerful chaos of the space. Nia braced herself for anger, for orders to clean it up immediately, for that cold disapproval that seemed to be his default setting. Instead, he said, "Can I help?" Eunha blinked. "What?" "The cookies. Can I help make them?" He looked uncomfortable, out of place in his expensive suit standing in a kitchen dusted with flour. If you want." Nia recovered first. "Of course. Here." She grabbed an apron, the frilly kind that the chef wore, and held it out to him with a challenging smile. Standard kitchen uniform. Jisoo looked at the apron like it was a live snake. Then impossibly he took it, put it on, and rolled up his sleeves to reveal forearms that Nia definitely didn't notice were corded with muscle. "Tell me what to do," he said to Eunha, voice softer than Nia had ever heard it. The next hour was awkward and beautiful and utterly surreal. Jisoo followed Eunha's instructions with the same intensity he probably brought to business deals and interrogations. He measured flour with precision, asked questions about proper mixing techniques, got chocolate on his fancy watch and didn't even flinch. And slowly, gradually, Eunha relaxed and started smiling. Started chattering about her day and the butterfly she'd seen in the garden and how Nia had taught her a song in English about rain. "Sing it," Jisoo said. Eunha looked uncertain. "It's silly. I want to hear it," he said calmly, trying his possible best to maintain the atmosphere. So she sang, her small voice filling the kitchen with off-key enthusiasm. And when she finished, Jisoo did something Nia had never seen before. He smiled. A real smile, not the cold curve of lips he used to intimidate people, but something genuine and warm and devastating. "Beautiful," he said. "You have your mother's voice." Eunha beamed. When the cookies were finally in the oven, Eunha was yawning, a sugar crash imminent. Jisoo picked her up, carefully, like she might break, and she wrapped her arms around his neck without hesitation. Something in Nia's chest cracked at the sight. "I'll take her up," he said to Nia. "Thank you for this." After they left, Nia stood alone in the destroyed kitchen and tried to reconcile the man who'd just baked cookies with his daughter with the same man she'd watched order executions. She tried to understand how someone could contain that much darkness and that much light in the same body. She was still thinking about it an hour later when she heard Eunha screaming. Nia ran, heart in her throat, taking the stairs 2 at a time. She burst into Eunha's room to find the girl sobbing in her bed, nightmare pale and shaking. Jisoo stood uselessly by the door, looking lost and terrified in a way that all his power and money couldn't fix. "I don't," he started. "She won't let me." Nia pushed past him and gathered Eunha into her arms. "Sure, it's okay. You're safe. It was just a bad dream." The bad men," Eunha sobbed. "They came back. They took Papa and you and everyone was screaming." "No one's taking anyone," Nia said firmly, rocking her gently. "You're safe. Your Papa's right here. I'm right here. Nothing's going to hurt you." It took 20 minutes to calm her down. 20 minutes of soft words and gentle rocking and promises that everything would be okay. When Eunha finally fell back asleep, exhausted from crying, Nia laid her down carefully and turned to find Jisoo still standing there, looking like someone had gutted him. "She has them a lot," he said quietly. "The nightmares. Since that day. Since she saw," he stopped himself. "I don't know how to make them stop." "You can't," Nia said gently. "You can only be there when she wakes up scared. You can only show her she's not alone. She won't let me hold her. Not like she lets you," he replied, looking frustrated. "Because she's afraid of disappointing you, of being weak in front of you." Nia moved toward the door, gesturing for him to follow her into the hallway so they wouldn't wake Eunha. "She thinks you want her to be strong, so she won't show you when she's scared." "That's not." Jisoo ran a hand through his hair, frustration radiating off him. "I don't want her to be afraid of me." "Then stop being afraid of her," Nia said calmly. He looked at her sharply. "I'm not. You are. You're terrified of that little girl because she's the only thing in the world that could actually destroy you. So you keep your distance. You stay cold. You protect yourself." Nia crossed her arms. "But she doesn't need protection from you. She needs you. The real you. The man who put on a frilly apron and helped her make cookies. Give her that man. You don't understand, Jisoo said, voice low and rough. The things I've done. The things I am. If she knew, she's 6. Nia cut him off, her voice slightly loud. She doesn't need to know. She just needs to know you love her. She knows that. He hissed. Does she? Nia challenged. Because from where I'm standing, she knows you feed her and clothe her and keep her safe. But love? Real love. She's starving for it. Jisoo looked at her with something dangerous brewing in his eyes. You have a lot of opinions about my parenting. You hired me to take care of her. That's what I'm doing. No, you're. He stepped closer, and Nia's breath caught because suddenly the hallway felt very small and he was very large and very close. You're making me question everything. You're disrupting the order of my home. You're teaching my daughter to laugh and sing and make messes and be a child. Nia finished. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Fire me if you don't like it. I should. His voice had gone quiet. Dangerous. I should fire you and find someone who knows their place. Someone who doesn't look at me like I'm a problem that needs fixing. I don't think you need fixing, Nia said, heart hammering. I think you need to forgive yourself for whatever it is you think makes you unworthy of your own daughter's love. The air between them crackled with tension. Jisoo's eyes dropped to her lips, just for a second, and Nia felt heat flood her cheeks because no, absolutely not, she was not attracted to this man. This dangerous, impossible, infuriating man who. Go to bed, Nia, he said roughly, stepping back. Before I do something we'll both regret. Nia fled. Things shifted after that night. Something had cracked in the foundation of their careful, professional distance. Jisoo started coming home earlier. Started joining them for dinner. Started asking Eunha about her day and actually listening to the answers. And he started watching Nia. Not obviously. Not in a way that anyone else would notice. But she felt it. The weight of his gaze when she was reading to Eunha. The way he'd find excuses to be in the same room. The careful distance he maintained, like he didn't trust himself to get too close. Nia told herself it meant nothing. That she was imagining things. That the attraction she felt, and God, she felt it, burning under her skin every time he was near, was one-sided and inappropriate and needed to be stamped out immediately. But then he'd look at her with those dark eyes, and she'd forget every sensible thought in her head. The explosion came on a Friday. Nia heard him before she saw him. The front door slamming. Heavy footsteps. Raised voices in Korean, Jisoo and several of his men. She grabbed Eunha, who'd been playing in the sitting room, and started to move her toward the stairs. Nia. The girl's voice was small, scared. It's fine. Let's just go upstairs for a bit. Jisoo stormed into the sitting room, and Nia's breath caught. His face was a mask of fury. Blood, not his, she thought, please God don't let it be his, stained his shirt. His knuckles were split. Whatever deal he'd gone to, whatever meeting, it had gone very, very wrong. Eunha made a small sound of fear. Eunha, Jisoo barked. Upstairs. Now. The girl ran, and Nia moved to follow her, but Jisoo's voice stopped her cold. Not you. Stay. Nia turned slowly. The men who'd entered with him had fanned out around the room. 4 of them, all wearing similar expressions of grim satisfaction. Something about the way they looked at her made her skin crawl. Mr. Kong, she said carefully. Maybe this isn't the time. Did you leave the property today? He demanded. What? No. I've been here all day with Eunha. Did you make any phone calls? Send any messages? I don't. What's this about? He crossed the room in 3 strides and grabbed her arm. Not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough that she couldn't pull away. His eyes burned into hers. Someone leaked information about a deal I had today. Someone in this house. And you're the newest addition. Ice flooded Nia's veins.
You think I'm a spy?
You think I'm a spy?